Hey everybody, so I'm back for the new video. In the last video we talked about some different investments that I had made in the past that are kind of non-typical. This video I want to talk about the mentality with the investing. You want to invest in materials or memories. I have kind of a thought that I've always had, which kind of says, I want when my kids are on their deathbeds one day to kind of look back and remember the great things they did in life. And the one thing my kids aren't going to do, guarantee, is say, dang, remember my life growing up and we had such a great granite countertop in the kitchen. No, it doesn't happen. Nobody gives a crap about that stuff. But what they do remember is the fun things they did with their family. And that's the things I want to do. So part of my investments, it's not just monetary. I want to invest in the memories that I'm going to have with my family, and the good things in life. So that's kind of where I'm going to go with this this video right here. So first I want to start and say, there's nothing wrong with having nice things. I like to have nice things, but I have them for me. I don't have them for nobody else. I don't have them to show off for nobody. I get what's needed for what I need to do, and that's about it. I'm not buying anything for anyone else. That's kind of my philosophy on things. Now, if you have the money for it, yeah, buy all the good stuff. But other than that, no, just get what you need, and live the best life you can with what you can afford. So another advantage to think about when you think about owning used things, used boats, used cars, used anything. You go out and you enjoy nature on a used ATV. You go out on the boat, you're on the lake with a bunch of other boats having a great time. You're enjoying the same sun, the same fresh air, the same beautiful weather for way less money than people who are going out and buying this stuff brand new. Now, there ain't nothing wrong with going out and buying these things brand new. If you got the budget for it and you're already set, tear it up, man. I would too. Live what you can, but don't trade it. Don't trade it for your some comfort in the future just so you can look good right now. Do what's fun for you, for your family, what you enjoy doing, only for yourself. If you do anything for other people, it's nobody gets ahead worrying about what everybody else is doing. You just end up at the end angry, upset, and there's too many people like that walking around this world and running around and crying right now because somebody else has more than them or somebody else is doing better in life. We don't need any more of that. So you have to make the decisions on your own. One of the things I wanted to bring up as well about the property, I mentioned, I wanted some properties up north. We all love going up north in Michigan. Virtually everybody has an up north property, or they know somebody with one. I bought mine in my early to mid-20s with my brother. Me and my wife bought one not long after that in the lower peninsula. But there's some trade-offs with that. You think, hey, maybe this will appreciate in time. In reality, there's a lot of the land up in Michigan that nobody really is. The prices aren't really going to go up too fast, and what you end up doing is you end up spending a lot of money on taxes and upkeep and all these kind of things. So you're paying for taxes and upkeep, and you're kind of stuck going to that same place over and over and over all the time. Which is cool. It's cool to have something to call your own, man. There's something to be said for that. It's a really, really good and great feeling. But the trade-offs for that is, let's say you want to check out a different part of the state. You can just Airbnb now. Now, you could rent your place out and Airbnb that. That's a whole nother set of stuff that you got to get into to rent out your place on Airbnb. But if that's for you, potentially, maybe, have other people pay off your place for you. Pay some property managers to deal with everybody else who stays there. So you could do that. Where we were at, that really wasn't an option. We just had land with a travel trailer. Not nice enough place to you're really roughing it where we were at because we really like the outdoors. But with all that said, you are kind of stuck going to the same places all the time for vacation. And it takes away your options to go other places for vacation. So, me and my wife, that was part of moving out here to Raleigh in North Carolina was, we want to go to other places. We want to go back and visit Michigan. We want to go on cruises. People aren't really cruising right now with COVID-19, but the second they open back up, I'll be on them. But yep, we'll there's so many things you can do, and you don't want to be pigeonholed into just doing a few things, because you're just kind of wasting the money at that point. So there definitely are some pros and cons, and there are a lot of cons to owning your own place. This is kind of mostly what I have to say about investing in materials or memories. You can invest in the memories, and they can hold their value, and they can be material things. So I mean, they're the couple things that don't really make you feel so good. I mean, they make you feel good, just giving you some comfort, peace of mind, is knowing you have a bunch of money in your retirement plan and your 401k, or sitting away, stuffed away in the stock market. But you always have that in the back of your head, that what happens if the market tanks, right? What are you gonna do when something like that happens? So you don't want to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with that. Not today. So all right, so my next videos, I'll probably get into why I'm doing what I'm doing. I mentioned in the intro videos kind of what I'm doing, but I kind of want to get into the whys, what really drove me to this, kind of what I thought when I was younger, the way I've always felt about money, my job situation, and how the job working in the automotive field is in Michigan as a design engineer, the way these jobs tend to go every few years, with layoffs, and the markets are always up and down. So I'm going to get into that kind of stuff. We can talk about, why I chose to do all this stuff. And then in later videos, we'll talk about what did I actually have when we decided to make these videos? What did I have in investments? What was my net worth? How much what's my net worth now compared to what it was maybe 6 months ago, based on what I've been doing and the choices I've been making for investing and all of that kind of stuff. We can also talk about, I mentioned about we wanted to downsize. We really wanted to downsize, buy a small little house. I would love a little 800 square foot house. We moved from the lake, and we ended up in, a bigger house, and that was bigger than our old house, and we're living on a golf course now, which is beautiful. And it's actually, costs more than our old house, but it's not costing us as much, and I'll get into why that is. So interesting, and I'll tell you guys all about it in later videos. I'll talk to you later. Bye. All right, everybody, I'm back real quick. I forgot to tell you all to demolish and obliterate and murder that like button and subscribe, because it's a good thing. It's a good thing to do. Talk to you later. I'm Justin, and this is 40 to a million. Bye. So some of the other investments that kind of make memories and can also pay themselves back is used items. Used items can be a lot of fun. You can get used cars, used ATVs, boats. Boats are great. We got a boat in our old house where we lived on a lake. It was great. We bought it. We actually sold it for the same as what we paid, maybe a little more, a few years later. And so we got the use out of that, used it for free. It was an investment, paid itself back. Didn't really cost us anything, except for the maintenance and all that kind of stuff that you have to do. But there's a price for everything, right? You can do the same thing with ATVs. I bought an ATV. I had it for 12 years. What's my dog barking at? So I got this dog over here, and he's going nuts. So I had an ATV. I had my ATV I bought it in 2004, sold it in 2020. So again, this thing lasted me 16 years, and I sold it for a few $1,000s, $3,500 I think. Paid $6 for it, so got a great time out of it. Cars, I used to work with a guy who used to buy a Corvette. He'd buy a 3-year-old Corvette. I think every 3 years, whatever it was, he'd buy a used Corvette, pay mid-30s for it, and he would take it, and then he'd sell it a few years later, and he'd sell it for barely under what he paid for it. But he had a Corvette. He was a car guy. He just loved the idea of having one of these things. So it was an investment, but every 3 years he'd trade it in, get another new Corvette that was about 3 years old, and he's always driving a fairly new vehicle, a vehicle that he really loved. So there's ways of doing these things if you want to live a good life, and the car's got its value still. So you can sell it 3 years later if you just want to cash in eventually, and do that instead of having to wait till it wears out and there's a bunch of wear and tear.